I want to acknowledge first and foremost are those who were here who lost loved ones just 2 weeks ago in this awful tragedy. Corey Moore, and I want to just mention the three who we lost and a little bit about each one, which everyone here in the North Country knows, but thought it's worth repeating. Corey Moore was an aviation buff. He was weeks away from getting his pilot's license to fly his 4-passenger Cessna and served as the ambulance company's mechanic. Rod Cota was pastor at the Brookdale Wesleyan Church for 10 years, a longtime paramedic and supervisor here at the company. And Greg Williams, who like Corey and Rod, dedicated his life to helping others, first as a member of the Navy, then as an ambulance company and as a driver. And they're hardworking family men. They love their country, they love their community, they love their families. And God has taken them away too soon. And I just want to thank the families particularly for being here, because this is very, very hard for them. And I told them privately, but I'll say it here publicly. If you read the Bible, the scriptures, it says that when something so awful happens to you, out of the blue, unexpectedly, unfairly, your natural reaction is to, what the Bible says, curse the darkness. Saying, why me? Get angry, turn in on yourself and others. And they say the hardest thing to do is to light a candle, to try and bring some light to this awful darkness that will be with these folks for a very long time. And today, by being here and trying to prevent this from happening to others, they can't bring Corey and Rod and Greg back. They are lighting a candle. And that is a saint-like thing, which is a very high compliment to all of you. So thank you. Now, I also want to say something to the co-workers, because I know what you're going through as well, to lose 3 of your most valued colleagues. And thank you for being here. It's a difficult time for you and for the whole community. But I know here in the North Country, people stick by one another through the generations. And I know everyone will stick together and in some ways make us closer and stronger. And that's very important. So just have a moment of contemplation before I get into the substance of what we're talking about. Okay, so while we're here today to honor the lives of Corey and Rod and Greg, we also need to ask ourselves what can be done to prevent future tragedies like this one from happening. Most New Yorkers, particularly up here in the North Country, which is where the spaces are spread out, drive regularly to work, to drop the kids off at school, for recreation, to go to a restaurant, to go enjoy the great outdoors. And that sometimes tragedy strikes. That's what happened in the crash that took the lives of these members of the community. As was reported, the crash happened when 2 separate cars slipped under a jackknifed milk tanker which had swerved to avoid a deer. The cars, one after the other, slammed into the side of the trailer. With a higher clearance of the trailer and without any barrier for the cars to hit, the cars skid under the truck. Now, if the truck had a protective barrier known as underside guards, the cars would have been stopped, better protecting both the driver and the passengers. Large trucks sit higher than passenger vehicles, so underride guards along the rear and side of the truck can help prevent vehicles from going underneath the truck in an accident. And there would be an accident, but it would be far less devastating with far less serious consequences. It's not to say we're certain that underside guards would have saved the lives of Corey and Rod and Greg, but it might well have. And we need to ask ourselves what we can do to decrease the chances of crashes like this becoming fatal. So here's what the National Highway Safety Administration found. They found that hundreds each year of fatalities like this one would be preventable if there were underride guards on trucks, on large trucks. And that's why the National Transportation Safety Board, our federal agency in charge of safety on the roads, has recommended the installation of rear, side, and front underride guards to improve safety. And that's why lots of organizations across the country have said we need it done, including the Advocates for Highway and Auto Safety, the Truck Safety Coalition. So, our truck safety standards are lacking. It's putting drivers and passengers at risk every time they get on the road. But the federal government is now sitting on its hands. Now we have these recommendations, but nothing's being done. And so let me be clear, there's a gap in truck safety standards. And so I am here in Canton, only 2 weeks after the awful tragedy on I-81, urging my colleagues in Congress to now join me in pushing for new, tougher truck safety standards. First, we have to update the truck's rear underride guard standards. Rear underride guard standards are currently required, but they were updated decades ago and they're not effective anymore with the safety improvements that we now have in technology and things like crumple zones and airbag deployment sensors. Second, there is no requirement for side underride guards. There should be. And third, we need innovative solutions for front underride guards. They don't know exactly how to do that now, but we need the National Transportation Safety Board to do research and come up with standards for those as well. While we know that these underride guards will not prevent the severity of all crashes, they will lessen the impact of hundreds and hundreds of accidents each year and save lives. So the quicker the federal government can come up with safety standards, the quicker the installation of truck underride guards, the quicker we can prevent tragedies like the awful one that occurred 2 weeks ago here on I-81. And I want to give the commitment to the families here who have suffered these losses that I will do everything I can to get this done as quickly as possible.